やー、最近ちょっと寒なってきたな。
Yes.
10月入ってもう10月終わりぐらい。
Yeah, it's becoming. Yeah, end of October. It's
い
very
やでも
quick.
最近なんかバンクーバー結構晴れの日多い気する今年。
Yeah, it's not so much rain as you would expect.
うん
I feel like people have a view of Vancouver to be always rainy,
うん
but it's not the worst this year. Yeah. Even early on in the before summer too, during the spring, it's usually a lot more rainy. But it wasn't too bad this year, so it's pretty good.
う
Yeah,
ん、晴れてる日多いし、なんか紅葉もあってめっちゃ綺麗。
yeah,
今年は
yeah. Very nice this year.
山とかも最近ハイキングとかも行ったけど、めっ
Uh-huh.
ちゃ綺麗。もう晴れてる日晴れてる日めっちゃいい。
Yeah, Vancouver's like very good.
うん、
with-
晴れてなかったら嫌やけどな。
Yeah.
雨の日もやることないし。
Yeah, it's terrible.
せやな、今日ちょっとハロウィンについてちょっと話したくて、なんか俺カナダに来てからハロウィン4回5回
Mm.
やってきたんやけど、なんか俺日本ってやっぱ全然違うんよ。
I heard Halloween in Japan is so different than Halloween because I've only experienced Halloween in Canada, so I've never really knew what Halloween in Japan was, but I heard it's really different.
全然違う。
Yeah.
なんか日本、俺もなんかあんまり中学生の時までしか日本おらんかったから、
うん
そんなすごいやばいとことかまだ行ってないけど、
Yeah.
なんか毎回ニュースになるから、そんな行ってなくても
Uh-huh.
毎回ニュースになるかも知ってる、
Yeah.
何が起きてるかとか、毎回なんかハロウィンの日になったらもうすごい事件とかいろいろあるから。
Yeah, sometimes I see those videos on like Instagram or YouTube, and it's like crazy. Seems like Halloween is for like adults in Japan.
そっか、せやな、なんかあんまカナダで大人のイベントって感じではないよな。
No, it's for kids. It's for kids. So what happens here in Halloween is, well, a lot of homes would decorate their house, and they would have Halloween, things going on in their house. And then on Halloween, kids will go around their neighborhood and go to each door and get some candy. And you say trick or treat, and then the owner opens it, and then they give you some candy, and you go to the next house. So that's the culture here with Halloween.
いや、俺もそれがハロウィンと思ってた。俺もなんか日本のおるときはちっちゃい頃はそれしてた。
Yeah.
なんか
Also, you still do that in Japan.
今やってんのかな、なんか最近なんか結構前とかになんかそういうお菓子になんかそういうのなんか危ないものを入れたりとかする事件があって、
Oh man.
そうでなんか他の人からあんまキャンディーもらえへんみたいな、その信頼してる人からしか
Yeah, yeah.
無理みたいな、
That's
知らない
scary.
人、そうなんかそういう飴の中になんかそういうちょっとハイになっちゃう飴のあれとか入ってたりとか、もう
So the kids ate.
そう、
Wow.
そういう事件がちょこちょこあるから、なんかあんまり多分最近は減ったんかな。まあでも俺はちっちゃい頃よくやってた、近所の家とかにトリックアトリートっつって
Yeah,
やってたんやけど、まあでもカナダはそれが結構もうそれがハロウィンよな。
Yeah, I mean, if you're in high school, if you're a high school student, or maybe in university as well, people would host like Halloween parties at their home on Halloween, and they would do like have a party within the friend group.
うん。
But like the stuff I saw on like Japan, it's so crazy.
カナダではさ、そのハロウィンの日にその友達の家とかにいてパーティーするやん。
Yeah.
仮装していくん、コスプレしていくん。
I'm sure there are people that do it.
うん。
But the ones I've known, they just
そうなんや。
go to someone's house and just have drinks and just have a lot of fun with your friends. But it's not. I mean, I'm sure there are people that gather and do, have their own costume and stuff like that. But not that I've really gone to or knew about.
だからもうハロウィンっていう行事やからもうみんなで集まって
Yeah, yeah.
ちょっ
And
と
then
飲んだりしようかみたいな。
yeah, one other thing is in Canada, fireworks are illegal.
花火？
Yeah, yeah.
そっか。
Except on like those special events. So on Halloween, I think it's allowed. Halloween and New Year's, it's okay, I believe.
花火とか日本ぐらいよな、あんなバンバンな。
Yeah, Japan is so normal. But in Canada, you're not allowed for most of the year.
それカナダ来てびっくりしたもん。
Yeah.
全然花火ないからもう。
Yeah,
何してんのって感じよ逆に。
that is
そう
true.
そう。まあでもそうよな、日本のハロウィンはどっちかというと、まあよく有名なんが渋谷ハロウィンって言って、もう渋谷に行ってもう仮装して でそこでお酒とか飲んだりしてもう暴れまくるみたいなイメージ俺は。
Yeah, I've seen videos on like internet, on Instagram and different platforms, and it looks so crazy. It's
めっ
like
ちゃ人多いと思う。
yeah, especially in Shibuya, and then it's just filled with people. They seem like they're going quite crazy, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, you know, they just all have so much energy,
う
and
んそうだ
it
から
seems so crazy.
多分日本で一番そのハロウィンってなったら人が行くのは多分渋谷かな。あのスクランブル交差点とかあの辺り
Is
と
there
思う
any
け
other
ど
location in Japan that people would?
あるんちゃうかな。他でも多分大阪は大阪でとかでもあると思うけど、俺はあんま行ったことないか分かんけど、多分どっかしら絶対あるけど、多分その中で一番大きいのは渋谷のハロウィン。
I heard that they're trying to stop the Halloween on Shibuya.
そう
So
もう
I think it was from last year, right?
いや結構前からじゃあどうなんやろ。
Also, they've been trying to stop this Halloween
そう
event.
そう毎回もすごいなんか事件とかいろいろ起きるから、もうちっちゃいことから大きいことまで起きるから、もうその東京の方からしたらやめてほしい、で毎回なんか東京の一番有名な看板とかがあるんよその看板のところにもう今年のハロウィンはもう渋谷ではやりませんみたいな、そういう感じのこと書いてあんねんけど、もうそれがなんか振りにしか見えへんというかもうなんかもう毎回それ毎年それやってるんやけどみんなやっちゃうねんな。
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the more you try to stop it, the more people will want to do it.
なあだからもうどうやって止めるかもう多分困ってると思う。
I think so. Yeah, because I saw an article recently where last year they tried to do a virtual Halloween.
バーチャル
Virtual Shibuya Halloween. So basically, people would supposedly gather virtually through like the metaverse, which is like
おー
Facebook related, the metaverse.
こういうやつよな。
Yeah. And so people would gather on there, and they recreated the Shibuya district, and they had like special events on like through that virtual reality. And I think they probably tried to keep the Halloween, you know, because it's Halloween, right? It's like a international thing.
うん
And then so I would assume they try to keep that Halloween event going, but virtually. And I don't know if it succeeded or failed. I don't think it would succeed. It just doesn't make sense for me to. If I was a part of it, I would never join virtual. It's like, well, everyone is going in person, right? So I would think that people would still go in person.
俺も今年も行くと思うまだ人。
Especially with all like the increase in foreigners
Yeah.
and tourism in Japan, I think people would, especially the people from the West, they like this kind of stuff.
多分好きそうこっちの人とか多分あったら絶対行くもんな。
Yeah, I think so. So
で結構もうみんないろんな仮装とかすんのよ、なんかそれこそ警察の仮装したりとかもう何でもありなんよでなんかたまにめちゃめちゃユニークな人とか出てくるんやけど、それがなんかすごいニュースに取り上げられたりとか、もうだから誰がどんだけユニークなやついけるかとかもう競ってる人たちもおるし、
yeah, the videos I saw, the costumes they wore were like crazy.
すごい
They go
超クリエイティブ。
Yeah, it's really impressive.
うん、
Very impressive.
もうなんかその日のためにめっちゃ作ってる人とかもおるし、
Oh.
そうもうなんかコンペティションみたいになってるな。
Well, cosplay itself is already
まあ、そう
very
やな。
big in Japan, right?
うん、
So I
日
guess
本です
people.
ごい、そうや
Yeah.
なコスプレあれまあ多分日本の文化よな。
I would think so. I mean, there's people here that do cosplay as well, but that's because I think they get influenced by Japan. So, but yeah, I think Halloween this year is gonna be so crazy.
そうやな。でもちょっとずつ減っていってるとは思うんやけどな、どうなんやろ。
They said, apparently it was the peak was in 2019.
2019。
Yeah, but that was before COVID.
そうやな。
And so they said that was the peak, and I read online. They said there was about 40,000 people in the Shibuya crossing.
40万人
Yeah, in the Shibuya crossing, which I don't know if is a lot, considering there's like 40 million people living in Tokyo. But yeah, apparently it was like the biggest. But with recent years, it's gotten less compared to that.
うん。
But I don't know. I feel like this year will get more.
そうよな、
Yeah.
もうコロナもちょっと終わりかけてきてるし、
Yeah.
でその中で外国人の人とかもいっぱい来ると思うし、
Yeah, I think a lot of foreigners would
そうなんか
participate and make it maybe even worse.
まあどうなるかって感じやな、ほんま。
Yeah, but it seems like it's gonna be pretty big.
せやな、
Yeah.
でなんか俺結構聞くのがさ、なんか日本でなんかそういうコスプレとかすごいハロウィンがすごい人気になってる理由みたいな、なんか前動画で見たことあって、なんか正直ハロウィンっていうそういうイベントってさ、どっちかというとそういうなんかアメリカとかカナダとかウエスタンの方がなんかすごい盛り上がりそうやん。
Is what we would think, yeah.
うん、でも
Yeah.
なんか日本で盛り上がる理由ってなんか仮装とかしてたらさ、自分をすごい隠せるやん。なんかだからもう隠せれるから、もうなんかもうその日だけはもう違う自分になって、もうバーみたいなっていう考えの人が多分そこまで考えてないとは思うけど、もうそう言うたらなんか顔にいろいろ塗ったりとかして、
Yeah.
で違う服装したら誰かわからんやん。だからもうその日やったらもう何でも OK みたいな思っちゃう人が多分多いと思う。だからすごい事件とかも起きてるし、
So it's like a day to act like someone else.
いやいや、そうそうそうそうそう、だからもうその日ぐらいはみたいな人は多いと思う。
Yeah, I guess I mean if you compare the different cultures with the Western culture and
So-
Japan especially, they have a very distinct, or the main difference in the culture is that Western people express themselves a lot more than Japanese people. And Japanese people care about how they look compared to others. But if they're able to wear a costume and kind of not be themselves, but have a different,
Yeah.
like appearance than than what they normally are, and everyone is doing it, right? So they don't need to really worry about how other people look at them because everyone is, in costumes. So I guess I can see why that would be.
そう、結構まあ日本人ってすごいあんまり自分を見せへんことが多いから、なんかやっぱその中でハロウィンっていう日はもうなんか自分を見せれるというか、もうなんか周りの目気にせずに、もう
Yeah.
みんなやってるから、
Yeah,
そう
yeah,
みんな
yeah.
やってるから、もうそこ行っちゃえばもう周りの目も何もないし、もうやりたいようにできるみたいな
That makes sense.
日で、やっぱりそれでまあお酒とか入ったらもうみんな
Yeah.
まあガーってなっちゃうんやろうなとは思うな。
So it seems like this year won't be. I mean, one way I can see this going is with the increase in foreigners, and if things do go severely bad with foreigners, there might be some sort of change.
Yeah,
If
maybe.
if there is like a big, like event that occurs at Halloween, like on Shibuya, with a foreigner, of course it's gonna go in the news.
Yeah.
Right, and then because of that, they might like Japanese people might actually be like, hey, maybe we should, not do this anymore. But I mean, I don't know, I feel like it's such a big event in Japan that it's quite hard for people to stop doing it.
そやな、
But
なんかもう日本人もそうやけど外国人のみんな気ぃつけてや、ほんまにハメ外しすぎんように。
that is true. That is true.
すぐニュース載るから。
I know.
日本もう外国人がやったってだけで、日本人がやってもまあそれニュース取り上げられるけど、
But if they're all wearing costumes, they won't even know if
That's
it's
true.
foreigner.
日本語だけはちょっと上手くなっとかないとな。日本語ペラペラやったらギリ免れるかもしれん。そや
That's
な、
true.
だからまあ結構違うな、日本とカナダでは。
Yeah, it's very
Halloween.
different. Very different. Yeah, we don't like. I'm pretty sure there are people that. No, it's not. It's not to that degree of like Shibuya in here. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's parties and stuff here, and like people have fireworks and stuff, but it's nothing like Shibuya. It's Shibuya Halloween is like a whole different level of It's not even celebrating Halloween. I don't even know what it is. It's like a whole different level you don't see in Western society here.
そっか。でもさ、なんか俺の日本おった時の海外のハロウィンの印象ってなんか13日の金曜日とかわかる？
Yeah, Friday the 13th.
いやとかなんかチャッキーとかなんか怖いやついっぱいあるやん、海外って。
Yeah, it's more.
なんか俺はそのイメージが大きいねんな。なんかそういうなんかやばいやつがおるみたいな、そういうなんかピエロとか。
Yeah.
そっちのイメージやねんな、ハロウィンって。でもなんか。
Were you here during the time? I can't remember how long ago. It was basically both in Canada and America. But there was an incident where clowns would come out. Like people dressed as clowns would appear in the street to scare people. And it became a problem. Because like at night, people like there would be clowns on the streets.
怖いな。
Yeah, it actually got quite scary for people. And then it was trending where people would dress up as clowns and
見
scare
たことあ
people.
るわ俺
Yeah,
俺
I'm
なんかも
not
う
sure if you were here in Canada at that. You might have been.
でもなんか日本でめっちゃそういう動画流行ったと思う、もうなんかそういう脅かす系の動画
Yeah.
あれなんかそう海外行く前めっちゃ怖かったもんそれ
Yeah.
驚かされるのかな、
Yeah.
こう海外当たり前かと思ってたもん
Yeah, but it was. I mean, it was really trending at that time. But people would just dress up as clowns and scare people on the street at night, and it was trending. So everyone, like many people were doing it. So it was quite. If it happened, I would have been quite scared. To be
やめて
honest.
ほしいよな
Yeah,
や
it's
め
like,
てほしいわそんなん
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
でもアメリカでそんなんしたらさ結構銃とか持ってる人とかもおるやん
Yeah, yeah. So it's
やら
like
れちゃ
pretty
うよな
dangerous. Yeah, yeah. I mean, can't remember how it stopped. It just kind of died down.
最近見いひんわそう思ったら
No, yeah. It was like probably like 4-5 years ago. So you might have been here, but
そういうプランクめっちゃ流行ってたよな
yeah.
やめてほしいわまあでも俺今回カナダ来てから見てないってのがまあ
Yeah.
いいことだけど
And the thing is, like, I think it might have been connected with Halloween, but it happened for like it was like a month period. So it wasn't even Halloween at that point. It was like, right, because Halloween's only one day.
ただただプランクして
Yeah,
る
yeah, yeah. They're just going around and scaring people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, apparently there were cases that were actually quite dangerous. But I don't know the details of it. I just remember there was a trend going on with people dressing up as
なん
just
か
as
まあ
clowns and scaring
まあ
people.
日本とは全然違うよなちょっとな
It
カナ
is.
ダと日
It
本で
is.
は
Yeah.
まあいろいろ違いあるな
There's a lot of differences. Yeah. Yeah.
まあでも俺らはまあゆっくりはめ外さずゆっくりハロウィン過ごすか
Enjoy Halloween. Yes.
せやな
And hopefully everyone watching can stay safe.
ほんまやな
And
マジで
also, yeah, stay safe.
ほんまにそう
Basically.
ほんまに特に日本おる外国人マジ気ぃつけてほしい
Yeah, yeah.
もうすぐ捕まえちゃうから
Yeah.
日本の警察ハロウィンの日とか
That's so funny.
まあそんぐらいかな
Yep, that's our Halloween episode. The difference with Canada and Japan in terms of Halloween.
またみんな
So-
ハロウィン楽しんでください
Enjoy.